Hello, I'm sleepy, so let's talk about some sleepy comics. Let's talk about slice of life. Let's talk about romance. Let's talk about a little bit of drama, but not too much drama. How do you write comics without giant explosions, without dragons setting things on fire, without, all of that? Personally, I like explosions. I like murder. I like destruction, chaos. But I know not all of you are writing that. And I have written chill vibes before. I know, shocking. I don't write tons of it. I read a lot of it. Actually, I really like a chill vibe. I like contemporary. I like a little bit of melodrama, honestly, but I don't read a lot of fantasy, so I am aware of how these things are structured. The biggest thing when it comes to writing slice of life, when it comes to writing drama, non-fantasy, non-speculative work, is that all of the principles still apply. Everything that I talk about, be it pinch points, pressure, character motivation, all of that, it is the same. It doesn't change. The stakes are lightened and the pressure is lightened, but the consequences are also lightened. You lighten everything. I don't know why I said but to that, but you have to lower all of it and you'll be fine. The principles still apply. Okay, let's say our character does need to save the world from dragons or whatever. You need a lot of pressure for that to move forward. Let's say your character needs to win a baking competition. They need pressure, but not the same pressure you would need to put on this poor girl to make her save the world and battle with dragons. The same stuff happens, but on a smaller scale. And I often talk about the lace plotting method. I bring it up in so many of my videos, but let's talk about it again. Okay, we have location plots, we have answer plots, we have character plots, and we have event plots. And you may be thinking in slice of life, okay, we're mostly going to be dealing with character plot. And I don't think you're going to be dealing with it more than you would any other plot. Let's first talk big, okay? Let's talk the big ways that these stories can go about. And then I will lower them down for you so that you can kind of understand how they can transfer from one to the other. Okay, so location plot, you got a journey. You have to go from one place to the other, there and back again, or there and to Mount Doom. You got a answer question plot, or a question answer plot. Anyways, someone has died. Who did it? We got our character plot, which is your character plot. Your character is going to change in some way. They're either going to learn to accept themselves or they're going to embetter themselves and change. Then you have event plots. And event plots are the status quo is upended and then we have to fix it. Your village is attacked by ogres and you have to go defeat the ogre king or whatever. Now, let's bring them all down and let's construct stories that are just as engaging but smaller, right? So, location plot. It's a road trip. A road trip is a location plot. So, you start in one place and you go on a road trip. You have a plan to go somewhere and your character does that. There's going to be conflicts along the way that stop them. So in the case of an adventure story, there's going to be, troll bridges you have to cross over. In a road trip, there's going to be flat tires. There's going to be shenanigans at convenience stores or whatever. But the same principle does apply. It's just you have to find ways to, the characters, they get the directions wrong, the GPS malfunctions. These are things that get in the way from them reaching their location goal. So a location plot has a beginning and end with one place and the other, and all of the roadblocks in the middle are things that stop them from getting to that location. So that is how it plays out in a slice of life type sense, versus having to fight goblins. Now, a question answer plot. What if there's not murder? There's so many questions that you can answer. It really can be like anything. It can be like, where did my glasses go? Like, that is a plot that you can put in a slice of life. It sounds silly, but the same principles work. You know, you have a character who loses their glasses at the beginning of the story and hijinks ensue, the hijinks being the obstacles towards getting glasses back, and it ends with them finding it. There is a mystery, and these can be engaging stories. Just to be clear, like, it sounds silly, but that's how you ground things and keep things small. It's about what is important in the story and how you add emphasis to it, you know? Like, you have to find interesting obstacles, right? Interesting red herrings and such. Some real Blue's Clues ass stories, you know, like those are perfectly fine question answer stories for a slice of life. And it's in the presentation whether it becomes like something for like preschoolers versus, you know, a more adult audience or whatever. But that's the basics of it, right? And event stories. Now, status quo sounds earth-shattering, right? But status quo can mean a lot of things. A status quo could be in your high school story. There is the new kids in town and they have like change the dynamics at school. Like, that is a status quo. That is an event. It can be like a big sports failure. It can be like a Hallmark plot where it's like, okay, this little Christmas town is about to be bought out by some loser capitalist. Like, that is an event. That is a status quo change. That is earth-shattering, you know, like the cute little town is going to be upended and we need to regain a status quo or a new status quo. Like, it's easy to, I think when we think about plots, it's easy for me to talk about the big ones and it's easy for me to talk about the small ones in different ways. You just kind of have to bridge the gap between them. You know, like, every story is going to have the same types of elements. It's a matter of like bringing things into focus, and it's a matter of like getting everything on like the same level or whatever. Like, you can have engaging plots, you can have funny plots, you can have just relaxing stories where the stakes are very low and you keep them low, but they're still engaging because there's still obstacles and there's still pressure, but not in a way that's like overwhelming, not in a way that it's like, well, if they fail, everyone dies, you know? Like, they can still be engaging. You just need to follow the exact same methods but tone things down. And whether you're writing a very epic big story or a very small down to earth story, it's less about the bigness of the story itself and more about the characters or the reader's like attachment to the story. Characters are usually a really good way to get readers to attach to a story, but like what your character finds important is going to be important to the reader. And really it just comes down to kind of fitting the tone that you want. And if we're talking about like a long running story with very few prominent arcs, that's very slice of life, just friends chilling, having fun. What you need to do for those stories is you need to have pressure, but you need to like relieve it pretty frequently. And you have like arcs where you kind of return to status quo. You can kind of think of it as like in television, there are stories, you know, the classic is The Simpsons, but I know there's like others where like everything resets at the end. Like, that can kind of be something you do with slice of life, where at the end of an arc you relieve that pressure and you reset to the beginning, kind of. You can have very small, subtle changes along the way, is another thing that you can do. The whole thing that I would focus on is just bringing things down to earth. And recognizing that even like the most meandering slice of life, fluffy kind of stories, they still have a plot. They still have characters with goals and motivations, and things don't always go well for them. You can have it so that other things are going well for them in their life, but there is like one place where they're struggling in, and that's where you can find your plot, while still keeping a very light and fun kind of vibe to your story. But yeah, that would be my advice. Thank you for listening. I'm gonna go sleep now. Please check out my comics. I work really hard on them. My wife works really hard on them. What's being drawn now is the Books of Avo, and I have an audiobook version of it available on YouTube where it will show you the pictures and Ursula will read them all nicely to you, and you can, give me engagement. You can also read it on Comic Fury, which is linked below. I'm trying to get a whole bunch of followers on my other comic, The Scourge of Ninepoint. So if you have Comic Fury, check it out. You can also check it out on Webtoon and Tapas or whatever. But anyways, thank you for listening. I will be back tomorrow. Goodbye.